I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
High Five Casino is the top sweepstakes casino that's free to play. Sign up today to receive a free welcome bonus and exclusive first purchase offers. Choose the Lucky Deal package for $9.99 and claim up to 550 game coins, 33 sweeps coins, 1 sweep coin daily bonus for 4 days, and 350 diamonds. Your high five moment awaits at highfivecasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply.
Thanks so much for joining me on the Listen Up Girl podcast, where I bring you LGBTQ plus news several times a week. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman, and today is Saturday, September the 6th. And my first story is about J.D. Vance. He defends RFK Jr. in a heated vaccine controversy. So Vice President J.D. Vance has sparked outrage online after unleashing a profanity-filled defense of human Health and Services Secretary RFK Jr. following his disastrous appearance before the Senate Finance Committee. Instead of engaging with serious questions about Kennedy's handling of public health policy, J.D. Vance shifted the debate over towards trans kids. That's right. He wanted to talk about trans kids instead of vaccines. A culture war issue far removed from the actual hearing. Critics say the move was an intentional distraction to rally the far-right base, while others called it a disturbing sign of just how politicized both political health and LGBTQ issues have become. Vance's intervention highlighted the increasingly toxic overlap between vaccine denial, anti-trans rhetoric, and partisan grandstanding in Washington. And my next story continues about this entire thing with Kennedy, where Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was grilled by both Republicans and Democrats during this heated Senate Finance Committee session. Lawmakers accused him of undermining confidence in vaccines and putting lives at risk during his tenure at the Department of Health and Human Services. Senators pointed to his firing of key vaccine experts, slashing research budgets, and narrowing FDA approvals of COVID-19 vaccine, which they warned would restrict access for millions of Americans. Even Republicans who typically align with Kennedy on other issues expressed alarm at his claims that vaccines have not saved countless lives. The bipartisan rebuke underscored a rare moment of unity in Congress as lawmakers warned that Kennedy's policies could undo decades of public health progress. And my next story continues with this entire circus that he did yesterday, were heavy breathing and heavy criticism for Kennedy, as senators confronted Senator Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over what they called reckless and anti-science vaccine policies. Viewers were struck by an unusual distraction, his heavy, labored breathing into the microphone. The sound became so pronounced that it trended online aside clips of his testimony. While critics focused on the substance of his policy, accusing him of risking lives and disregarding medical evidence, the audio quirks gave the hearing an almost surreal quality. Some commentators argue that the focus on Kennedy's breathing trivialized the stakes, while others said it perfectly symbolized an administration struggling to articulate a clear, science-based health strategy. I listened to some of this hearing, and when he was talking, it sounded like Darth Vader. I'm not kidding. Luke, I am your father. A little bit. I'm so funny sometimes, right? Inside the rise of Washington, a gaze in the Trump era. This story came out today in the New York Times. On a summer evening at the Ned, a private club near the White House, Washington's elites gather for cocktail and strategy sessions. Among them was Charles Moran, a senior official at the Department of Energy, who has become a central figure in a powerful but unexpected new bloc in Republican politics. Openly gay men aligned with Donald Trump. Known as the A-gays, this group includes influential figures across the Treasury, State Department, and even the Pentagon. Despite the Trump movement's record of hostility towards LGBTQ rights, from cutting HIV funding to attacks on drag shows and trans rights, these men insist that they are reshaping the GOP from within. Moran now informally tracks dozens of gay appointees in the administration, describing them as community that looks out for each other across agencies. Critics, especially within Washington, broader LGBTQ plus community, view them as collaborators in administration rolling back equality. The A-gays argue that they are proof Republican Party is evolving, citing Trump's past praise for gay rights and their own visibility in high-ranking roles. Whether seen as trailblazers or traitors, the A-gays are undeniably part of Washington's new power structure, one that thrives in the paradox of both proudly gay and proudly MAGA. I don't understand at all how you could have a gay person that, fine, be a Republican, but how can you support MAGA whenever all the things that Trump is doing is so anti-gay, anti-trans? He's obviously not for our community. So maybe you're just desperate for the money or the attention. Who knows? But it's sad. Next, drag performer attacked in Pennsylvania sparks outcry. Police in York, Pennsylvania arrested 22-year-old Devin Thomas Harborough for allegedly strangling drag performer Sybil Stackhouse, also known as Von Disseroon. The attack happened on August 22nd, and the community members quickly rallied in support of Disseroon. According to a witness, Brandy Pappas, the group had just finished drinks at Gift Horse Brewing Company, while another table began making derogatory comments before the violence escalated. LGBTQ plus advocates are calling this yet another reminder of the dangers faced by drag artists and queer people in public spaces, demanding stronger protections and accountability. My next story, we jump to the EU, and this is a positive story, believe it or not. EU pushes for gender recognition across member states. In a potentially landmark move, the Advocate General for the European Court of Justice has recommended that all EU member states be required to issue identity documents that reflect the citizens' lived gender identity. AG Jean-Richard de la Tour argued that denying legal gender recognition violates core principles of European Union law, including the rights to free movement and residency across borders. If upheld, this ruling would standardize protections for transgender and non-binary people across all EU nations, many of which currently have restrictive or inconsistent policies. Advocates say the decision could reshape daily life for thousands of people who face barriers when traveling, working, or accessing services in Europe. Great. I love these type of stories when we're finally getting equality. The US is going one way, and the EU and other countries are going the right way. So I'll keep bringing you those positive stories as they come out. My next story is Google's power over LGBTQ plus searches raises some concerns. Google commands nearly 90% of the global search engine market and generated $348 billion in revenue last year. More than half of Americans say they trust Google more than formal education, but critics are asking, what does this mean for LGBTQ plus community? When kids, parents, or allies turn to Google for help, its algorithm decides what answers they see first. Advocacy groups warn that biased search results can steer vulnerable people towards misinformation or hostile narratives, especially on issues like gender identity, sexuality, and trans health. With Google's influence so vast, the debate over its responsibility to protect accurate, inclusive information is only getting louder. And I want you to think about this whenever if you get sick or you have a disease or someone you know has, a major illness, a lot of people go to Google to look for what they should expect, a cure, to who they should reach out to for it. And Google is not the place to go for finding out about sicknesses or illnesses or viruses or anything like that, you should go to advocacy groups. And that's what this story was telling you. If you need to know about your son or daughter or yourself, about being transgender, about sexuality, go to an advocacy group website and search it. Don't go to Google. They're going to give you all the wrong answers. Next story is about Representative Nancy Mace attacks transgender colleague Sarah McBride. So South Carolina Republican Representative Nancy Mace is once again drawing fire for her anti-trans rhetoric, this time targeting her colleague, Representative Sarah McBride of Delaware. After McBride criticized Republicans for prioritizing culture war battles over policies that actually improve American lives, Mace lashed out online, writing, "You are a man and wear dresses. Stop it." McBride, the first openly gay transgender woman elected to Congress, has long faced attacks from the far right. Advocates say this latest insult highlights the hostility trans lawmakers endure simply for holding office and underscores how anti-trans sentiment continues to be weaponized in national politics. So that is my news for Saturday, September the 6th. If you are watching this as a video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to my podcast. I am on all podcast platforms. And please be sure to leave a comment on what you think about the news and what type of news you'd like to hear. But I try to bring you all the latest LGBTQ plus news several times a week. Again, I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman. Thanks so much for listening, and talk to you tomorrow with more LGBTQ plus news.